Good day and God bless everyone. Today we will be discussing about the Piaget's cognitive development theory. Every time we teach children something, we keep them from inventing it themselves. On the other hand, that which we allow them to discover for themselves will remain with them visible for the rest of their lives by Jean Piaget. So, Jean Piaget's quote emphasizes the importance of discovery in learning. When we teach children directly, we might limit their opportunity to explore and understand concepts on their own. However, when they discover something for themselves, it becomes a deeper, more lasting part of their knowledge. So this process of self-discovery helps children develop critical thinking skills and stronger connection to what they learn. So, cognitive learning is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. So, when we say cognitive learning class, it is the process of gaining knowledge and understanding by using your mind through thinking, experiences, and sensory input. And Jean Piaget's theory suggests that children's cognitive development is shaped by biological maturation and environmental interaction. So, Jean Piaget's theory says that as children grow, their thinking develops through a mix of natural growth and experiences with the world around them. And Jean Piaget's theory explains how children develop their thinking skills through the concept of schema, assimilation, and accumulation. So, when we say schema, it is a cohesive, repeatable action sequence possessing component actions that are tightly interconnected and governed by a core meaning. So, when we say schema class, it is a mental structure that helps you organize and understand information based on related actions or ideas. And next is the assimilation. It is a process of taking new information into the existing schema. So when we say assimilation class, it's all about adding new information to your existing schema without changing it. And lastly is the accommodation. So it involves changing or altering existing schemas owing to the new information provided or learned. The balance between assimilation and accumulation is achieved through a mechanism which Piaget called equilibration. So, again, when we say accommodation, it's all about modifying your existing schema to fit new information or experiences. So, again, schemas are like mental folders that store related information about the world, similar to how a computer organizes files. For example, si Gio has a schema for dog that includes features like being furry, having four legs, and barking. And then assimilations happen when Gio encounters something new like paddle and adds it to his existing dog schema because it fits his understanding. And for the accumulation occurs when Gio encounters something that doesn't quite fit his dog schema, like cat. After learning that cats meow instead of bark, he adjusts his schema to create a new one for cats. And the equilibration the equilibration is the process that helps Geo balance adding new information or the assimilation with adjusting his schema or the accumulation to make sense of the world around him. So when he successfully adapts to new experiences, and that's it, learning happens. Another example is imagine a child named Alea who is learning basic math. So the schema here is Alea has a schema for addition where she understands that adding two numbers together gives a bigger number. For example, she knows that 2 plus 3 equals 5. And then the assimilation, one day, Alea learns about adding larger numbers like 10 plus 15. So she uses her existing addition schema to solve this problem, fitting the new information into what she already knows. house. And then for the accumulation, so later, Alea is introduced to subtraction, where she learns that sometimes you take numbers away, resulting in a smaller number. So this doesn't fit her addition schema. So she adjusts her thinking to create a new schema for subtraction. And then the equilibration din, Ana, is Alea balances her understanding of addition and subtraction by adapting to these concepts. So she now knows when to add and when to subtract, leading to a more complete understanding of math. And for the next slide is taken by Mr. Kanyes.
God bless everyone, I am Mark Campanias and I'm going to report the status of cognitive development. For stage 1, sensory motor stage, birth to 2 years, children explore the world through their senses and actions. Yes, babies use their senses and actions to explore the world because that's how they learn. And use the 5 senses to understand the surroundings by grabbing, crawling, and playing. They figure out how the world works, and it's like their own personal experiment. For the key achievements, of permanence, which means understanding that objects continue to exist even when not seen. For example, ang bata o yan is the doll of Peekaboo. So, uh, even though ang yang yaya is may tago, but kabalo siya na ang yang yaya is exist. So, that is object permanence. For the goal-directed actions, which means intentionally behavior to achieve specific outcomes. For example, colorful na toy sa table, dayon nakitaan sa bata. So, ang yang mindset is, kato na dulaan is iyang waon. So, ang bata is magkamang na siya, tapos nakuha niya of things. Even though galisyon na siya, pero ang yang intention is, or yung gusto ma-achieve is makuha niya na. So, that is goal-directed actions. For pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years, children begin to use symbols like words, images to represent objects, but do not yet think logically. Yes, kids start using symbols like words and pictures to stand in for real things. And also, they are not thinking logically yet, but they are using symbols to understand the world around them. For the key skills, use of symbols, reliance on physical actions rather than the mental operations, and developing the ability to represent reality through symbols like pictures. For example, ang bata is na siya toy banana. Tapos ang kanang toy banana is given niya as a phone. Tapos represent niya na siya conversation. Or other example is, ang bata is na siya ballpen. Tapos ang kanang ballpen is given niya as an airplane or a gun. So, that's for pre-operational stage. For complete operational stage, 7 to 11 years, children start thinking logically about concrete events. Yes, kids start to think logically about real things they can see and touch, and they can understand how things work and solve problems based on what they know. At this stage, they're learning to use logic to make sense of the world around them. Yes, like for the key abilities, reversible thinking, which means understanding that actions can be undone. For example, ang mata is na siya clay. Tapos, ang mata is mag-ima siya snake na shape. So, mag-ima na mata snake na shape. Tapos, yung lakoton. So, may mo bola ang katulong clay. Tapos, katulong bata is mag-ima po siya og shape na heart. Tapos, nagbubuhat na siya. Tapos, ganyan pong lakoton. So, magbubulat. So, makain mo ng bata na ang kwan ay ang maka-understand na siya na ang actions can be undone. So, that is for reversible thinking. For the conservation, which means recognizing that quantities remain the same despite changes in shape. For example, ang bata is na siya yung duwa kabaso. Then, ang katong sa kabaso is tambok na gamay, tapos ang isa is hiwang pero taas. Then, maka-identify ng bata na even daw na laylay silang shells, pero kung yan ibutan ang tubig sa gamay na baso, then tambok, or katubang taas na baso, naniwang kay stimuli ko sa amount sa mag-hangay ko tato na tubig. For the classification, broken objects may shared characteristics. Okay, ang bata is kamo siyang classify na kaning butanga is mga cars ni siya, kaning butanga is mga blocks ni siya, kaning butanga is mga fruits ni siya or vegetables na things. So that's for the concrete operational stage. For formal operational stage, 12 years and up, adolescents develop abstract thinking and can reason about hypothetical problems. Yes, in this stage, teenagers and adults can think about ideas that are not real or present. They can reason about what could happen or imagine different possibilities. It's like thinking about what if scenarios and solving problems that involve abstract concepts. For the key features, hypothetical deductive reasoning, like scientific thinking, and adolescent egocentrism, which means believing that others share their thoughts and concerns. For example, ang teenager is makasolve siya of complex problems sa mathematics. Tapos magamit niya siya og heuristic styles like ngita siya other ways or other solutions na masolve niya na problem. And other example is ang bata is nilaag. Tapos mag-ask siya friend na what time is it? Tapos mo na ang friend na 6 p.m. na din. Bingon na siya friend na ay muli na ako kay pauwi na po sa akong parents karon. So ang bata is makating siya na if 6 p.m. na di ay kay pauwi na po siyang parents. So that is deductive reasoning. And that's for a formal or personal stage.
Let's proceed to teaching implications of Piaget's cognitive development theory. So, according to Piaget, he emphasizes that teachers should not only teach what's are on the topics, but also the teacher should act as mentor. So, mentor that will guide students to their educational journey, and also encourage students to make or develop their own understanding about the problem, rather than giving them or providing them a ready-made solutions, or those solutions that are already given by the teacher. So according to the text, creative approach in teaching supported by a conducive classroom environment and relevant materials, it helps students to engage more deeply into learning. So also Burke provided a summary of teaching applications derived from Piaget's theory. So these are the followings. So first, focus on the process of children's thinking, not just. So first, focus on the process of. So first, focus on the process of children's thinking, not just its product. So what does it mean? It means that teachers should emphasize on how the children or the students arrive from their answers, rather than evaluating the correctness of their answers. So for example, math, you give a problem to the students, and they derive or came with the correct answer. So to evaluate their thinking skills, as a teacher, you should let them to solve in the board, rather than just okay, Mark, you're correct, Nika, you're correct, and like that. So you give them a chance to solve the problem on the board. So understanding their thoughts, or this thought process, it can help us to identify other developmental stage, and what are their needs or area or areas that needs for supports. And second, a recognition of the crucial role of children's self-initiative, active involvement, and learning activities. So it emphasizes that learning is most effective when children are actively engaged and take initiative. So it means that as a teacher, you will let them to engage in different ways. For example, you will let them explore. For example, for science, you will let them to have an hands-on experiment so that they will understand thoroughly what are on the topic, so that also they can apply in real situations or real world problem. Third, the emphasis on practices aimed at making children adult-like in their thinking. So it means that instead of making children think like adult, for example, like a grade 8 students, as me as a teacher, and there's a grade 8 students, and I keep saying that to them that you should think like grade 12 na, or you should think like grade 10 na. Actually, it's wrong because it's not their developmental stage. So in this text, it emphasizes that teaching should respect the developmental stage of the children. Also, when making your it also apply in making your activities. So in making your activities should align with the cognitive abilities or skills of the students, because if you don't align those activities with their cognitive abilities, there are tendencies that the children might struggle or encounter difficulties in engaging or participating or making their activities. So this conclude that activities should align with their cognitive abilities and gradually develop or build complexity as the children develop. In addition, we have recommended some considerations for teachers to ponder upon in their teaching practices, and this includes the following. First, consider the stage characteristics of the students' thought processes in planning learning activities. It means that teachers should design lessons that are aligned with the cognitive development stage of their students. For example, younger children in their concrete operational stage they can benefit from hands-on activities, while adolescents in the formal personal stage can engage in abstract reasoning and hypothetical thinking. For example, a grade 4 or it's a grade 3 to grade 4 students, they only know simple arithmetic, addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So if and math problems or maths like calculus, statistics are not applicable for them, because they do not reach that kind of range in that or they don't have the capabilities to understand that certain math. So that's why in that stage, you should only provide, as teacher should only provide or make activities that are aligned in that stage, like for example, the simple maths like addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So, next, second, use a wide variety of experiences rather than deal on specific tasks to maximize cognitive development. So, exposure to diverse learning activities fosters broader cognitive growth. So, instead of giving repetitive drills, teachers should provide or encourage students to explore and solve problems and create thinking to create a creative thinking that to enhance the students' keep adaptability and understanding. So it means that as a teacher, you should allow the students to explore more to to the certain topics, because as we all know that um, the lessons are kana bitong are leveling up as we develop. For example, biology. Biology in grade 7 are just simple, rather than the biology from grade 10. So as a teacher, we should not only repeat drills for the students to understand a certain topic. So as a teacher, we should allow them to explore more and give them problem solving that they can solve, and to develop their cognitive skills. Next, the third one, do not assume that reaching adolescence or adulthood guarantees the ability to perform formal operations. So, as a teachers, we must understand that not all individuals automatically develop an advanced reasoning skills. So, teachers should assess students' readiness for abstract and complex thinking, and provide scaffolding for them to progress at their own pace. So, as a teacher, we should understand that there are students that are late bloomers, and there are students that cannot perform a certain task. They cannot perform a certain task compared to others. For example, let's say I can perform an advanced math than Julie and Hada. So, for example, Julie and I are in the same stage, or we're both adults, but not both of us can perform an advanced math. For example, I can perform an advanced math and Julie cannot. So a teacher should understand that, because students learn differently. We develop our cognitive skills, or cognitive domain differently. That's why a teacher should understand that, and do not assume that reaching adolescence or adulthood guarantees ability for a certain person to perform a formal operations, like just like reasoning skills or solving problems. So that's all.
So, hi. So, for the continuation about teaching implications of Piaget cognitive development theory, so number 4, remember each person structure each learning situation in terms of a schemata. So, each learners organize their learning experience based on their existing knowledge and beliefs. So, this existing knowledge and beliefs called schema. So, teacher basically considered that learners' past experiences and knowledge shape how they learn new things. It's like building on what they already know to understand something new. For example, a student learning algebra builds on their knowledge of basic arithmetic like addition and multiplication. So number 5, provide experience necessary for the development of concept before concept in language. So this emphasizes the idea that teacher considers hands-on experiences and real-life interactions, because it is crucial for developing a solid foundation of knowledge before diving into a more complex language-based concept. Example, about a dog. Nagpa-read ka sa mga bata about dog, nagpa-read ka about cat. So, ug wala na'y picture danha, basically, the student cannot, or dili sila kakuan ka ng unsa gyud ang dog, unsa gyud ang cat. So, basin misinterpret nila about ang dog, imbis dog, ang dog noon, na cat na noon sa ilaha. Ang cat pod, imbis cat, nahimo ng dog. So, it's important to provide pictures or real life scenarios about that. So next is 6. So number 6, consider learning an active restructuring of thoughts rather than an increase in content. So let's say student trying to learn about subject like history. So instead of this student trying to remember all the dates and events, they can try to understand the reason behind those events and dates. So, and how they are connected to each other. So this way, learners or students are structuring their thoughts and gaining a deeper understanding about the subjects. So it's rather than memorizing the events or memorizing the facts. So number 7, make full use of wrong answers by helping the student analyze his or her thinking to retain the correct elements and revise the misconceptions. So teacher considered and help student learn from their mistake. When a student gives a wrong answer, instead of just telling them they are wrong or their answer is incorrect, it is important to help them understand why their answer are incorrect. So in this, by analyzing their thinking process, student can learn from their mistakes and remember the correct information better. So number 8, evaluate each student in terms of improving his or her performance. So teacher must evaluate or track each student progress and see how they are doing in terms of getting better at their schoolworks. So this help teacher and educators understand where student they need to extra help or encourage to continue improving. So number 9, excuse me. So number 9, avoid overuse of materials that are so highly structured that creative thoughts is discouraged. So over rigid materials can stifle creative and exploration of the students. So for example, instead of giving step-by-step art instruction, encourage students to create their own interpretation of a theme or unsa ilang ganahan para mas ma-develop or mas makuan ilahang panghunahuna. So the last is use social interaction in learning experiences to promote increase in both interest and comprehension. So teacher considered that collaboration enhances understanding and engagement for student. So if you are teaching, you should interact the students so that they can understand better. So thank you, that's all.